This video is going to cover the Author Helper plugin for WordPress. We're going to talk a little bit about what the plugin is for, how to utilize the plugin, and some of its major features. Each section inside of the plugin will have a video if it's needed for more specific information on each of those sections. So please refer to those for more details. But this is going to just be kind of a comprehensive overview so you can get an idea of everything that this system is about, why we developed it, and so on. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually take you to my home page and show you that I'm essentially utilizing the Author Helper plugin right here directly. Now again, this is for WordPress, so you can see that I have a WordPress setup up here. It's not for WordPress.com, so if you're using WordPress.com, this won't work because you can't install plugins on WordPress.com. This is only if you have the actual WordPress on your own site set up that you can use this particular plugin for. Now, whenever you're creating links for your books, you're probably either going to be entering these in by hand as www.amazon.com / information that basically takes you to the Amazon book page, or maybe you're going to use something like GeoRiot or booklinker.net or Bitly and so on. And all of those systems are great, but what we found out, or what we've learned over the course of the couple of years that we've been dealing with this, is that they just don't really match what we as authors want from a tool like this. And so we decided, hey, let's just go ahead and design exactly what we would want to use as an author, and so that way we could share it with other authors so they could utilize it too. And so far it's been fantastic for us, and we're hoping you're going to enjoy it as well. So let me show you a couple of things here real quick. What I want you to do is look at the bottom left-hand corner of this page. And what you're going to see is when I hover over one of these links, either down here or over the book, because I have it connected to both, look at the bottom left-hand corner. You're going to see it says johnplawson.com /L/181. That 181 is just an ID number, and the /L is just a page that I have set up on the WordPress site, which actually the plugin does for you. You just have to tell it where to set it. That tells the system, hey, when a person comes to this page and they give me that ID number, the 181, I want you to redirect them to the appropriate location. So in this instance, it's going to redirect the person to Amazon. So if I click on this, it goes through, it grabs the info, and then it redirects the person to Amazon. Now, if I were in the UK, it would send you to co.uk. If I'm in Australia, then it's going to send me to the Australian site, Canada site, and so on and so forth. And we don't cover a ton of different countries, but we cover a lot of more popular ones: Japan, China, so on. And we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But it also does something else. It shows that it's sending across my affiliate ID, which is important, and it's also registering inside of the system a click that and tells me where exactly that click came from the US, the UK, the various countries, again, where it came from. And this is pretty cool, but one of the things that's most important, and again, if you look at that bottom left-hand corner there, is that you'll notice that the link is associated to my site. So it's not using some, Bitly layout or booklinker layout or something like that has all these odd characters and symbols and stuff that we found, people feel uncomfortable clicking because they don't know where it's going to take them. In this instance, if I post this link up on Facebook, it'll show that link on Facebook. And so the person will see that it's coming from johnplawson.com. They see that my name is John P. Logston, and so they go, hey, I feel okay clicking that link. So that was kind of important to us as well. And that's why this plugin lives on your own WordPress site, because it's going to be going to your site to get the link structure, get the link information, and then forward the person along accordingly. So that's the essential layout of what the links do. Now let's talk a little bit about what happens behind the scenes. So this is the home page of the Author Helper plugin for WordPress, and what we can see here is basically you get the general menu at the top and a little bit of a more detailed menu if you're actually on the home or main menu page. And we have things like, checking out your books and book links, custom links, managing your core links, which is a really great feature we'll talk about shortly, backing up and restoring your data, configuring your plugin, and so on. So the next section that we'll look at here is the overall link hits. Now, this is just a quick look so you can see how many people in the last 30 days, under what we have the duration set for right now, under the last 30 days have been clicking my links. And so you can see in my particular instance, there's been 1,835 clicks in the last 30 days. And you can then see down here all the different dates that they've gone through. Now, if you hover over a particular date, just hover over the little dot, it'll show you the date and how many clicks. And you'll notice that it can get a little unwieldy because they kind of squeeze together, especially as you get 90 days. Now, this is going to be a little bit harder to see all these things, but if you hover, the best thing to do is to look at the 30-day view, and that way you can just really put your mouse right on the dot and you can see specifically what each one is for that day going across. But generally, whenever I use something larger like the 90 days, I'm really just trying to look at a general curve to see what's going on there. I'm not trying to get specific information on each one of those. And each link is broken down. Each book actually is broken down, and then even further to each link. So you can really get granular into this information, which will make it a lot easier to read anyway. Okay, so if we scroll down just a little bit more, we're going to see that we have this thing called the latest on the authorhelper.com. Now, these are the articles and tutorials that we're putting together on the actual authorhelper.com website to help you navigate through the world of independent publishing, self-publishing. And, this will change. It could be on a daily basis or every other day. It depends on how often we're able to, produce content for this. And all you have to do is just hover over whichever one you want to check out, give them a quick scan. If something's interesting to you, just click on it. It'll open to a new tab so it doesn't take you away from your experience really. So that way if you close, you're right back to where you were and you're not, you don't have to leave the site and then come back and log in and all that kind of stuff. If you scroll down a little bit further, you can see that we're also listing our latest podcast. We do a podcast every week, barring, any travel or any other things that may be going on, and we publish that up here, and it's a video cast, so you can pretty much see us talking about our stuff and everything else going on, and directly under that we say what this particular episode is about. So if it seems something that's interesting to you, just click it. You can watch it in here, or of course you can jump over to YouTube and watch it there. Okay, so now if we go over here to the books and book links, we're going to see all of our books that we have listed on the service right now. Now, this is one of the things that is a key component for this particular plugin that we think is awesome compared to what you see out there in other options. That is the ability to house your books in particular sections, number one, and also to house your links inside of particular books. So we think that's really huge because it's very difficult to manage all of these links that you have to put together. If you think about it, you have links, whenever you create a book, maybe you have links out that you need for your website, for Facebook, for Google+, for Twitter, for sharing on your newsletter, for putting in the back of your book, for, you can come up with many different things. Matter of fact, you'll quickly find that if you really want to share everything, and not just Amazon, but let's say that you have books on Apple, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, the various services out there. If you really want to share it on everything, you're looking at a lot of links per book. They're all categorized inside of that book. So it's not just this massive list of pages and pages, and you're trying to hunt down which one that you have to find to copy, to create, and so on. So this is pretty cool. Now, one of the things that we're going to see here is it says book bundles at the top. This is really just a book series name, and it's up to you what you want to put for book series. Nobody else is going to see this. This is just for your own naming convention, but I basically created one called Book Bundles specifically for that. Obviously, I don't have a series on Amazon called Book Bundles, but that's really what I'm using this for, so I can, again, put these into their own little containers. Now, these happen to be series names that are actually there, and of course, in that instance, it makes sense, but again, this is just for you to see. It's not going to be seen by anyone else, so you can put your stuff in the proper containers. Now, let's take a look at each one of these particular sections. First off, you're going to notice that each one of these books has an image associated to them. Now, this is only true because I've put in the ASIN number for each one of these books. But if I don't have an ASIN number, what it would do is show me basically a black box that would then have a name on it, to a title that I've typed in so I can identify that particular book. And I'll show you that in a little bit so you can see what that looks like. But I'm going to do that on a demo site because, again, this is my live site and I don't want anything to, to mess up my live site. The next thing we'll see is the number of links associated to each book. So this one has 20, this one has 22, and so on and so forth. And as you scroll down, you'll see some of them have 24 on that one, 21, and they're all a little bit different. And that depends on how exactly we are structuring our link conventions for each thing. So for example, maybe this particular set, I sent out a newsletter for this one, and I didn't for this one. So maybe I have 2 additional links. Maybe one of them was for a newsletter, and one of them was for a contest. It could be something like that. And so they're not all going to have the exact same number of links. It's going to be determined on what you need for each one of your books. Underneath of that, you'll see how many total clicks or hits have been made for all of those links associated to that book. Okay, and so now if we go ahead and click on one of the books, let's bring this up, and what we're going to see is a picture of the book so we know where we're at, and we're going to get a graph that's specific for all of the clicks that have happened for this book over the course of, of a particular amount of time. So now is where I was saying we could get a little bit more granular into things, and it's easier to navigate these links up here. Still, if you decide, hey, I'm going to go back 120 days, it's going to be harder to see all these because they're going to run together. But again, you're really looking at this as a curve, and you can see right here, when did John start advertising again on this particular book? You can see that there. Another thing you can do in this view is you can click on this specifying a date range. So it's from, and so let's just say I want to see the last week. So I say the 22nd through today. Now this graph is going to change specifically for that, but also it's going to change the number of that I have in here for this particular layout. Okay, so if we go back and we say show me the 30 days, then you'll see that this number is different than what I just did for the last week. And of course, if I go back 90 days, it's going to be even higher based upon that. Okay, now underneath of that, we have all of our links. And you can see I have a ton of links listed in here. But these are links that I have put together over the course of time, and I'm going to show you when we actually go into the tool that we have set up a lot of default links for you. It's actually really a neat system. I'll show you that shortly. But let's scroll down a little bit here, and we're going to see that okay, let's say here's that Facebook ad that I was talking about. So if I go ahead and look here, it says, okay, I have a Facebook ad, and this is what I called it. So you can see it says name. So I called it Facebook ad. The destination service is going to be Amazon, and the destination page, it's going to take me to the book sales page. So basically, if I click this link from my Facebook ad, I'm going to go to the book sales page on Amazon. So, and also, if I'm in the United States, it's going to use this affiliate ID, and if I'm in the UK, it's going to use this affiliate ID. So let's go ahead and click it and see if that's true. I'm in the United States, so it took me to .com. It did bring me to that page, and it did use that tag, which is exactly what we were hoping it would do. So let's close that back down. And this says how many people have hit this. Okay. Now, if I click to edit this information, now what we're going to see here is the little scale that basically the chart again that tells us that. But notice something else. It also tells me how many people from each country have clicked this particular link. And if it doesn't find the person in any of these countries, it'll click to unknown. So in other words, I didn't find anybody in these countries clicking the link, so there must be other people clicking the link also outside of these countries. Now what happens if a person is outside of any of these countries? It will automatically move them over to the US. That's where it will take them to the US Amazon site, just so you're aware of that. Let's just say I said I'm going to do an ad for A Quest of Undoing. I'm going to come in here and I need to find a Facebook ad for Amazon. All I have to do is find that, and I know that if I click on this link, it's going to take me straight to A Quest of Undoing, which is exactly what I want. So all I have to do is if I hover over this, you'll see a little text pop up that says to copy to your clipboard, simply right click the link and select copy link address. Now that text might be a little different depending on the browser that you're using. I'm using Chrome, so that's what it says, but yours might say something a little different. But if I right click on that and I copy that link address, then at this point I can essentially go in here. and I can paste that. So I can, let's say I'm putting that in my, a Facebook post. Click here to grab the latest version of, A Quest of Undoing. And a person hits enter on that, it's going to take them to a Quest of Undoing page. And so as you can see, it's nice because it puts everybody into their nice own little container. So any book that I need information from, I can just go to that book and I can go to that particular link and boom, it's already ready to go. Now, if I come over to custom links, these are links that are not associated to a particular book. So as you can see, I only have a couple of them here. One of them is just a generic link that I can send people to my website. That's not really associated to any particular book. So maybe it's like a, something at the bottom of my email, for example. Or in this instance, you can see I have my Kboard's signature link. So I can have it there. So if a person clicks on this, it'll take them to that page for me. We wanted to make sure you could create links outside of just books as well as inside of books, though chances are the majority of your links are going to be inside of books. To show you the next section, which is called core links, I'm going to actually go over to the Author Helper demo site because I want to show you it from a pristine state. So as you can see, there's no data here. There are no books in here. If we go to the books, there's nothing here. When you first come to this page, you have nothing. You're just looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, okay, so I have to add a book, and going back to my site, I have to add a book, and then you're telling me that after I add a book, I got to go through and I got to type in all these things. That's a lot of work. Well, honestly, first off, just so you know, you kind of have to do that when you work with Bitly, when you work with, BookLinker, you got to do that anyway. But we've made it a little bit easier on you, and that's through this magical thing called Core Links. So when I click on Core Links, what this does is it gives you a list of links that we consider core to your business, or you might consider core to your business. Hopefully you do. And those are things like links for Facebook. So we're saying, all right, on Facebook, I want a link that's going to be on Amazon that takes me to the Amazon audiobook page or the book sales page or the book paperback page and so on. I want to have an inside of my book link that takes me to the Amazon book review page. So at this point, you would be able to have all of these links that will immediately be added to every one of your books. And you can add more to this list, you can remove from this list, you can do whatever you want. And this way, you can say, I'm going to build up all of the links that are core to my business. Maybe you say, I'm actually not on Apple or Barnes & Noble and so on. So maybe you remove all of those. I'm only using Amazon because I'm on KDP Select and I just plan on staying there and that's it. That's fine. And if someday you come back and say, you know what, I decided to go wide with distribution and I added Apple, I added Barnes & Noble, all you need to do to affect all of your books is to come into here, add in those items that you want, and they will immediately be added to all of your books, so you don't have to do it by hand every single time. So for example, we can see all these core links are in here, right? So if I go over here to books, and I say I want to add a new book, and I type in A Quest of Undoing, I'm going to leave this empty for now because I'm going to show you what happens when I leave that empty. And I'm actually going to leave the ASIN number empty as well. As soon as I click Add a Book, first off, you notice that there is no image to this. But the second thing you'll notice is I just got all of these links automatically added for me. Now, of course, none of them are going to look because are going to work rather because I don't have any of the valid numbers in here or IDs in here to make these work. But let's just say that I clicked on Edit a Book, and I go ahead and I put in the value, the ASIN number. Now, before I do that, I want to show you something. You have something here that says, let's go to Inside My Book, and we have the book review page. So at the back of your book, when you're going to put a book up on Amazon, obviously you want to have a link in the back of your book that says, please review my book, right? Now here's the problem. We all face this. You put that link, you can't put a link in the back of your book the first time you send it up there, because if you do, as soon as somebody downloads that book, it's not going to work because you didn't have the ASIN number to put up there. So what do you have to do? You put in the information at the back of your book, you wait for Amazon to publish your book, which could take anywhere from 4 to 12 hours before they do that. Then you have an ASIN number, so then you have to update your book again, put in that link at the back of your book, then you have to re-export it, re-upload it to Amazon, republish it to Amazon, and then wait another X number of hours, whether it could be 12 hours, for them to do that update again, and then you have the data up there. And we all struggle with that. It's such a pain, but you don't have to do that anymore. Now, all you have to do is find this particular link. You say it's the link that's inside my book for Amazon book review page, and you would have a link right here. And so you would copy this link, and you would go ahead in your book, you would say, please review my book, or whatever your wording is, and then you would make that text a hyperlink to this URL. Now, if anybody happens to click on that URL right, when they get the book, maybe they read your book in an hour, they were so hungry to click on this link, right? So they do that. As soon as they do, it's just going to take them to the fallback page, which right now is just my demo page here because remember, we're on the demo site right now. However, it wouldn't be. It would be your actual page. So for example, here, let me find a link like this one right here. It doesn't have a valid ID. So if I click on that, you can see it takes me back to my actual main page here, okay? So now, Amazon is publishing your book right now, but they haven't finished yet, and you're waiting, and then all of a sudden, Amazon says, okay, I have your new ASIN number ready for you. Awesome. All you do is you come into this tool, and you edit this book, and you put in what that value is. It instantly has this set up, and you'll notice the inside my book link is already set up. You click it, and it will automatically take you now to that review page. You do not have to upload your book again. As long as you follow those steps, you are set. You don't have to do this again. That will save you tons of time right there and a lot of headache. So that's an awesome feature in that functionality as well. But the interesting part here, really, that I was trying to get across, even though that's fantastic, are the core links. Because you have just created all of these links, and you didn't have to do each of them by hand. Now, if you wanted to add particular links in here, obviously you have to do that by hand. But you might also say to yourself, well, that's neat, I really dig that, but what if I have 10 books in here, and I only want this book to get a particular link? Instead of creating a core link, you would just come into a book, and then you would say, I want to create a specific book link for this. So let's go ahead and say Amazon. And let's see, May newsletter, okay? And we're going to give it the ID JPL Readers and JPL Readers 21. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. And we're going to scroll down here until we find book specific link, and we'll see May newsletter. Now you might be thinking, man, that's a lot of scrolling to find all that. That's true. So here's what we can do. We can actually come over here to the filter by service and say, just show me Amazon. Okay, so now we see only the Amazon links, and so it's easier to find our May newsletter in here. So now, at this point, here's our link for it. So when we put our newsletter together, that's the link that we're going to share. And when a person clicks it, they're going to come to our web page, and there you go. So again, you can create book-specific links. You can create links that will auto-add to all of your books. And also note, even when you add a core link here, if you have, let's say, 20 books, once you add that core link, it's going to add it to all 20 of your books automatically, so you don't have to go into each one of those books to add it manually. So there's a lot that goes into utilizing this plugin. There's a ton of features in here that you can play around with and have fun with. And I hope that this video has given you a good overview. Thanks a lot for your time.